You know, the Union Carbide accident. How many years has it been? It's been 20 years, and only now we're beginning to see the first convictions in that case come through. And guess what? Those convictions are paltry. 15,000 people died. Only 8 were convicted and sentenced to 2 years in prison, which is nothing. So someone somewhere really needs to be paying attention to these. And it's not always about blame. It's about the impact. Just look at the impact to our environment. There's no amount of money that can clean that up.
Folks, in 2 weeks it will be 4th of July, and of course here in America we are allowed to fly an American flag. We can put it on our head, we can wear it as shorts, we can wear it as a shirt, we can wear it as a bandana and everything else. But in India the same freedom is not there. Let me tell you about a young man. His name is Naveen Jindal. He graduated from University of Texas. First thing, when he went back to India, he saw that there were no flags flying, except in the office buildings and the others. So he filed a lawsuit. He wanted to fly it, so he filed a lawsuit. All the way from 95 to 2004 is when he got a permit from the Supreme Court of India that, yes, you can fly a flag.
Unbelievable.
But still, you know, if you disrespect flag in India, you go to prison for 3 years. For instance, the flag cannot touch the ground. The flag cannot be dipped into anything. Flag cannot hold anything other than rose petals, and so on and so forth. Did you know that Naveen, based on that, he ran for parliament, he got elected. Now he has a mission. He wants these huge Indian flags. He's getting his wish, of course, in the state of Haryana. He's got 3 of them. But he wants every state to have it. And he's continuing to file lawsuits because he wants everyone to be able to use the flag and not really disrespect it, but
show their
use
patriotism,
it.
right?
Yeah.
I think I'm surprised the Indian government is taking this so hard, or is putting up as much of a fight as they have to take this to the Supreme Court.
That's right, and it's a patriotic thing to do.
Everybody is crazy about their country, and your flag is one of the few ways you can embrace it. And I think we do it here freely. But we still have certain expectations of the U.S. flag. Many of the same things that you cannot do with an Indian flag, you cannot do with an American flag either. But, you know, there's a certain decorum that you should follow. But I don't see the harm in making clothing out of it or to show it off in some other way. There is a youth movement in India. They're embracing Western ideals. And what's wrong with this? This is actually a positive one.
Actually, the Western designer folks are using the gods and the goddesses' pictures in coming out with clothing, putting it on dresses and...
you remember the bikini comment actually came from a few years ago. We did a story about a fashion mogul that had designed a bikini with Ganeshi on it.
Yeah.
And it was a big uproar in India. And, you know, he even had flip-flops and those things. But he didn't realize that for us, you can't just put God's image everywhere, right? I mean, our deities are precious to us, so we treat them with certain decorum as well. But this is a good idea.
But this Indian designer was putting Ganesh on the blouse. Same deal, right? But everybody's going to move forward. I think it's only a matter of time. Did you know that they only sell 1,000 big Indian flags in a year, and in a
country of 1 billion people? That's
9,000 small flags that go on cars and the other things. You know, amazing, isn't it?
Well, maybe this will bring out some patriotism in all of us. Well, speaking of stars and the stripes, how many of you saw this in the Post a few days ago? You know, I saw this and I didn't know whether... I was appalled, actually. This is an article about Bravo's Real Housewives series, which is coming finally to D.C. They're doing a D.C. chapter, and the intent here is to take, you know, it's supposed to take place on the Hill with those who are connected to politics and are really movers and shakers in our Washington, D.C. area. So there's a couple of women here who are participating, and one of them, of course, is none other than Michele Salahi. I don't know how to say her name.
Michele Salahi.
Michele Salahi. She's no stranger to publicity, and surely she got all she wanted with this style page, front page article. The show debuted...
She crashed the White House dinner for Prime Minister Manmohan Singh.
That's right. Most of us remember her and her husband as being the infamous gate crashers during Manmohan Singh's state dinner.
That's right.
And since then, she's become quite a sensation. I'm not even sure she would have made the show if she hadn't become quite the sensation she has. The show debuts on Thursday, August 5th. You can catch her in all her glory. But the part that I was most disappointed by, you know, the Indian community should have done its part to really oust these two from the limelight, and yet in some ways we're doing all we can to glory in the press. I mean,
well, wait a second. I thought Indian Embassy canceled that polo deal that they were having.
No. In fact, the polo event was held, and they got in some trouble, too, because apparently they listed Kingfisher Beer as one of their sponsors, and Kingfisher not only has written back and said, we have nothing to do with this event, we don't want anything to do with this event, but, you know, it was touted as supposed to be the best sporting experience in the U.S., and the highest standards of polo, but, you know, only a few hundred people showed up. I don't know. I bristle at the idea of giving these people any more time and attention in the press than they deserve. I mean, they didn't do a good thing by crashing the party, and now they're glorifying it, and we're helping them. That's just, to me, that's just not right.
You just gave them time.
For the last time.
Moving on, folks, on August 5th in North Carolina, they're going to show a pastoral comedy about Saraswati. You know, they're talking about, this is set in 17th century India with actors in saffron and gold costumes, images of Hindu gods, Ganesha and Lakshmi on the stage, and a Bollywood-style musical number to accompany the marriage of four couples. At the end, festival producing artistic director Mary Begigny says she's trying to showcase ethnic diversity.
Wow.
They made a play out of Indians getting married on Bollywood music.
You know,
with Saraswati Puja and Ganesha and the others.
I guess to us it feels very strange, but to an external audience, let's say a non-Indian, this would be one way for them to understand the role of God in our lives. I mean, we embrace God in so many different ways, and this is, you know, one person's interpretation, but you have to admit it sounds interesting, right?
I want to tell you, this is from Wall Street Journal. I can't believe they did this small little story like that.
Well, if it helps to promote an understanding in other populations about, you know, our God system. We have a polytheistic society, and for many of you that don't understand what that means, we have more than one God. Kind of a Greek system of gods where they all have their individual personalities, and we worship them for different reasons. And it can be very confusing to people outside of India to understand how we do that or why we do that.
Well, you know, actually I went for Gita lessons. You know, one of the things that I learned in the Gita lessons was there's actually one God. And then there are different tiers of God of different times that help different wars or different, you know,
concept of
good
reincarnation.
deeds. Yeah.
I mean, those are not uniquely Indian concepts, but they're so prevalent that, you know, I guess they're showing up in the Wall Street Journal.